Welcome to QuickTale English. Today's story is about courage, taking risks, and changing your life. Victory over fear. Lucas lived in a world of gray. It was not literally gray, of course. The sky was blue and the grass was green. But Lucas felt gray inside. He was 30 years old and his life was perfectly safe. He worked in a small office with no windows. He stamped papers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. He ate a ham sandwich every day for lunch. He watched the same TV shows every evening. He went to sleep at 10 p.m. It was a comfortable life. It was a safe life. And Lucas was completely miserable. Lucas had a secret. It was a colorful, delicious secret. Lucas loved to bake. On weekends, his small kitchen became a magical place. He made cinnamon buns that smelled like heaven. He made chocolate cakes that were rich and dark. He made bread with a perfect golden crust. When Lucas baked, he was not the gray man from the office. He was an artist. His friends told him, "Lucas, your food is amazing. You should open a bakery." Lucas always smiled and said, "Maybe one day." But one day is a dangerous phrase. It usually means never. The truth was simple. Lucas was afraid. He was terrified. He was afraid of failing. He was afraid of losing his savings. He was afraid of what people would say if he tried and failed. The comfort zone was boring, but it was safe. The unknown was exciting, but it was dangerous. One rainy Tuesday, everything changed. Lucas was walking home from his gray office. He saw a sign on an empty shop window on Main Street. The sign said, "For rent," perfect for a cafe or bakery. Lucas stopped. He looked through the dirty glass. The shop was dusty and old, but Lucas saw something else. He saw tables with happy people. He smelled fresh coffee and warm bread. He saw himself behind the counter, wearing a white apron, smiling. "I could do it," he thought. His heart started to beat fast. "I could really do it." But then the other voice came, the voice of fear. "No, you can't," the voice whispered. "You don't know how to run a business. You will lose your savings. You will look stupid. Go home, Lucas. Eat your sandwich. Be safe." Lucas walked away from the window. He went home. But that night, he could not sleep. The vision of the bakery was too strong. The next day, Lucas met his friend Maya for coffee. Maya was different from Lucas. She was adventurous. She traveled to different countries alone. She was not afraid of the unknown. "Maya," Lucas said, "I saw a shop yesterday. I'm thinking about the bakery again." Maya put down her cup. "Lucas, that is fantastic. You have the best recipes in town. You must do it." "But it is risky, Maya. What if nobody comes? What if I fail? I have a steady job. I have a salary. Is it smart to throw that away?" Maya looked him in the eyes. "Lucas, listen to me. There is a risk in trying, yes, but there is a bigger risk in not trying, the risk of regret. Imagine yourself in 20 years. You are still stamping papers. You are still eating ham sandwiches. How will you feel?" Lucas imagined it. He saw himself at 50, gray and sad, wondering what if. That image was more frightening than the fear of losing money. That weekend, Lucas did something brave. He did not call the landlord of the shop yet. That was too scary. Instead, he signed up for the Taste of the Town festival. It was a local food market next Saturday. He paid $50 for a small table. For the next 5 days, Lucas worked harder than ever. He came home from the office and baked until midnight. His apartment was full of flour, sugar, and butter. He made 200 of his famous cinnamon buns and 50 loaves of his special rosemary bread. Saturday morning arrived. Lucas stood behind his small table at the festival. He felt sick. His hands were shaking. This was a mistake, he thought. Nobody wants my bread. I'm just an office worker. Then the first customer came, an old lady with a kind face. She bought a cinnamon bun. She took a bite. Lucas held his breath. "Oh my,"
she said. This is this is wonderful. It tastes like my grandmother's baking. Young man, this is delicious. She bought 4 more. Then more people came. The smell of the cinnamon buns attracted a crowd. By 12 p.m., he had sold half his stock. By 2 p.m., he had sold everything. He had an empty table and a box full of cash. People asked him, "Where's your shop? Where can we buy this tomorrow?" Lucas had to say, "I don't have a shop yet." But the word yet tasted sweet. The success at the festival gave him confidence, but opening a real shop was different. It required a contract. It required a loan from the bank. It required quitting his job. Lucas called the landlord of the shop on Main Street. He visited the bank. He wrote a business plan. It was difficult work. It was not just baking. It was math, law, and planning. The fear was still there, sitting on his shoulder, whispering doubts. The day came to sign the lease. The contract was on the table. It was a 5-year commitment. If he signed, there was no going back. Panic seized his chest. His hand froze. 5 years, his fear screamed. You're making a mistake. Run away. He looked at the pen. He looked at the door. He wanted to run. He closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. He remembered Maya's words about regret. He remembered the old lady's smile at the festival. He realized something profound. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting despite the fear. He opened his eyes. He picked up the pen. His hands shook a little, but he pressed the pen to the paper and he signed his name. Lucas Miller. He did it. The next 3 months were the hardest of his life. He quit his job. He worked 14 hours a day painting the shop, buying equipment, and testing recipes. There were problems. The oven broke. The plumbing leaked. He was tired. He was stressed. But he was not gray anymore. He was tired, but he was alive. Every problem was a challenge to solve, not a reason to quit. He was building his dream with his own hands. Finally, the grand opening arrived. He named the shop the Golden Crumb. He unlocked the front door at 7 a.m. The smell of fresh coffee and vanilla filled the air. The display case was full of beautiful pastries. 7:05 a.m. Nobody came. 7:10 a.m. Still nobody. The fear returned. See, it whispered, you failed. Then the door opened. It was Maya, and behind her, the old lady from the festival. And behind her, a line of people stretching down the street. They remembered him. They came for the cinnamon buns. The day was a blur of activity. Lucas baked, served, and laughed. He made mistakes. He dropped a tray of cookies. He ran out of milk once. But it didn't matter. He fixed the problems and kept going. At the end of the day, Lucas sat in his empty shop. He was exhausted. His feet hurt. His apron was dirty. He looked at the sold-out sign on the counter. He realized that the fear was a liar. The fear told him that safety was happiness. But the fear was wrong. Happiness was growth. Happiness was trying. Lucas didn't know if the bakery would be successful forever. Maybe next year would be hard. Maybe the economy would change. But he knew one thing for sure. He had already won. He had won the battle against himself. He had stepped out of the gray zone and into the color. He had accepted the risk. Leaving your comfort zone is terrifying. It feels like jumping off a cliff, but you don't fall. You learn to fly. You learn that you are stronger than you think. You learn that the only real failure is staying in the same place when your heart wants to go somewhere else. Thank you for joining QuickTale English. Subscribe for more motivating stories and English vocabulary practice. See you next time.